Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Okay, I didn't want to say that word because we're learning Nazir, and we're going to be learning about that word, the A word, and it's a little dangerous, especially when you have a Gemara Nazir in front of you. So you said it, Givaldik. Okay. L'ilui nishmat Mazel Tov to everybody who's Messiah Masechtas Nedorim. And welcome to all those who are joining us for the brand new Masechtas Nazir. So, as you know, right before we start a Masechta, I like to talk to the new guys, but today we're going to be very, very mekatzer. If you're watching this, Be'ezra Hashem, while you're watching this live, I'm going to be on a plane. So, we're pre-recording this. I'm on the way together with a bunch of guys from the Chabura. Yosef Biliak, Gershon Ben Moshe is in the booth. Yosef is over there. Avi, Noam, Tomer, Danny Fine, all these guys. We're going to Miami for the big scene in Miami. We have over 500 people there, Be'ezra Hashem. So, Be'ezra Hashem, I'll be on a plane while you watch this. So for the new guys, we got to do that. That's a good idea. Here we go. So we're only going to talk about 3 points. The biggest point is it's not about the daf. It's about the Yomi. It's about learning Torah every single day. It happens to be that we have a program called Daf Yomi. We learn a daf a day. Sometimes it's a longer daf, sometimes it's a shorter daf. But the point is to learn every single day. And like this, we connect HaKadosh Baruch Hu on a very high level, the highest level that you could connect HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'll skip to the bottom thing. If you miss a day of a daf, chas v'shalom, it's very, very dangerous to miss a day during Masechtas Nazir. Because if you skip a day during Masechtas Nazir, so just like Naziros, and we're going to discuss it, if you become tamei in the middle of the Naziros, you have to start all over again. So if you miss a daf in the middle of Masechtas Nazir, you might have to start from the beginning of Masechta. That's a joke. But the big idea is that if you do miss a daf, don't argue on this, because many have tried to argue and they failed miserably, every single one. If you miss a daf, you just skip ahead and you do the daf that everybody else is doing, and that is true and tried, and it's the best idea how to stay consistent and be with the daf. That's why so many people have been successful and finished the Masechta after Masechta after Masechta. So if you're new to this, trust me, if you miss a daf, don't be a perfectionist. Skip ahead to where everybody else is holding, write down the daf that you missed, and you go back to it. And finally, the last point for today is that the daf and this consistency and this Torah every single day makes you guaranteed money back, a better person. A better person in all areas of your life. You'll become a better business person, a better father, a better husband, a better yid, a better Oved Hashem. So, we could jump right into it. Nazirus is the idea that a person abstains from certain things. We'll go over here. A Nazir is somebody who says, Hareini Nazir. Those 2 words, Hareini Nazir. I want to become a Nazir. I'll abstain from all grape products. So you can't eat grapes, you can't eat the peels, you can't eat the seeds. Certainly can't have wine. You also can't cut your hair, take a haircut, l'chayra, but you can't shave your head. Another thing is, usually, 2 out of the 3 types in the zeros, you're also to become tamei to the dead. You're allowed to become tamei in other tumas, but not to dead people. You can't go to funerals, etc., unless you're a Nazir Shimshon. And we'll get into that as well. Happens to be, I'm going to be showing you a video now, not right now, but maybe in a moment, of a live interview I did just yesterday in Yerushalayim with a real-time Nazir. I was very curious to see what it's all about, who becomes a Nazir, why would somebody become a Nazir, what do they look like in our days. I found an individual who wrote Svarim, wrote svarim about it, he wrote 30 svarim, and I interviewed him for about an hour, and I'm only going to show about 2.5, 3 minutes. Nazirus, 3 categories. There's another stam, Nazirus stam. So if a person doesn't elaborate how long his term lasts for, so we say stam Nazirus, shloishim yom. But a person could also say, hey, I want to become a Nazir for 60 days, for 3 years, for 10 years. He could specify. He could also become a Nazir Olam, the Nazir for the entire life. He can never take a haircut, never become Tamei L'meis, everything. Aser and wine, forever. And then you have a Nazir Shimshon. He's basically a Nazir forever. One downside of being a Nazir Shimshon is there's no way out of it at all. Although our Nazir that we found in Yerushalayim, he claims he has a way out of it. He explains that anytime you have 2 Nedarim together, you make a vow, and you make a double vow, and you're matir one vow, the other vow falls away. So too, he made 2 vows here. And he believes that if he goes to a Rav and he's matir one, then the other one will fall away, his Nazirus will fall away. And I told him, if that's the case, then it's a hatara, and hatara works retroactive. So that would mean that this guy was never a Nazir, and all the mitzvahs that he did and everything that he did, Nazirus, his entire life, is going to be wiped out. Here he is. So, what the Mishnah is discussing now is the idea that you say Hareini Nazir, that's the main way to become a Nazir. But what if he says some other word that's similar? He says Naziach, which means that, or he says something else. So, let's see this video for a second, or for 3 minutes. Nah. We'll do the sponsors afterwards, because this is still part of the Hagdama. You got to do a nice Hagdama. Here we go. Here's the video. It's about 3 minutes. This is it. You're not allowed to say, I'm not going to even say the word that you're not allowed to say. Wow, it's unbelievable. Okay. 5 years worth. Okay. So now that we're starting Masechtas Nazir, I wanted to ask you a few questions about Nazirus. Maybe tell me a little bit about why you became a Nazir, what it's like to live like a Nazir. What can you tell us? Enlighten us a little bit about Nazirus.
We know by the halacha, there is 2 kinds of people that call holy. One is a Kohen, and the second is Nazir. Torah call him Kadosh Hu LaHashem. And the way to do it, it's not that difficult. You just say 2 words, Hareini Nazir. And in the minute when you say these 2 words, Hareini Nazir, you become closer to Hashem.
Very nice. First of all, could I see your hair? Could I see the back? What does it look like to be a Nazir?
Here.
Let's pay us. What about the back?
The back here, it's
there.
It's there, yeah.
So how many years are you a Nazir?
5.
All that in 5 years?
Yes.
I heard that you wrote 30 svarim.
Yes.
On what topics?
A lot of topics.
Since you became a Nazir, or even from before?
I started before, but since I became a Nazir, it became like...
The gate just opened.
Yes.
The ideas come in.
Correct.
And you told me that your wife is also a Nazira.
Yeah.
She doesn't write svarim.
No. She read. Yes.
She's holy. She feels
yes.
holy.
We feel that it's opened something in our life, in our heart, in our feeling. When you take Nazirut...
You're a Nazir Shimshon?
I'm a Nazir Shimshon.
So that means you could go to funerals, you could go to levayas.
Yes.
But it's forever.
It's forever, yes. I have some patent that I created.
He left that in on purpose.
Okay.
My contact dried up.
Okay, I have some patent that
I think his Kedusha hit me in the eye or something.
It's wrote in Yoreh De'ah, in Shulchan Aruch.
Maybe you should find it. Here's Tomer. We're back. I have a question. These rings that I noticed here, does this have to do with Nazirus?
No, it's
something else.
It's something else. Yes, it's from the Kabbalah.
But this came after the Nazirus?
Yes, I feel that after the Nazirut, things are open.
Okay, so you spoke a lot about the positives and how it influenced your whole life, and to tell us some of the things that's hard to be a Nazir?
The first thing that was difficult for me is to go out with the hair.
If it's such a big mitzvah like you're saying, it is, how come throughout the generations we don't have that many Nazirim? The Arizal, the Baal Shem Tov, the Vilna Gaon.
First of all, there was a lot of Nazirim. It's not published, but yes, there was a Nazirim in Am Yisrael. Arizal were here in Eretz Yisrael only for 1.5 years. I think if there was another time, maybe the Arizal also will become a Nazir.
תודה רבה הרב.
Thank you a lot.
תזכה למצוות.
תודה רבה.
לשם שמיים.
כן, שנזכה לנבואה, שתחזור לעם ישראל.
Amen. Amen. Okay, so like I said, I spoke to him for, 45 minutes, close to an hour, and this is just condensed. Obviously, I can't show you the whole conversation, but he claims that the tour, the son of the Rush, was a Nazir, and he brought down different gedolim throughout the generations. There were Nazirim, there's a whole community in Mitzrayim. I'm not condoning it, not condoning it, just trying to show that there are people today that are alive and well and accepted upon themselves the inyan of Nazirus. Okay, so based on this conversation, so we figured that the character of Nazir should be this person, Rabbi Turjaman from Yerushalayim, and here he is in Yoshi's art. This is actually a character that's drawn from scratch. So this will be our Nazir that does it l'shem shomayim, Nazirus. There's a Nazir that does it for the wrong reasons, and that will be a different character. Okay. Mentioned that a Nazir cannot drink wine or any grape product, has to grow his hair, and can't be metamel mace. And when he's finished with the whole process, he has to bring korbanos. And if he messes up in the middle, he has to start from the beginning. He brings different korbanos in the middle, and then he starts over. So says the Mishnah, let's jump right into it. The official Mishnah. So before we jump into the Mishnah, we do this, let's do the sponsors. The Koilel is sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood. Another sponsor, may supporting Torah strengthen our bitachon. The Peretz Chaim Levin, Zacharyah, we do not have a partner sponsor for the Masechta yet. But the Peretz Chaim Levin, Zacharyah, Peretz, the second one is Shprintzy and Alan Gross, the yahrzeits of our fathers. Zlman ben Yצחק, Aייzik Zechron Saul Birnbaum, and Benimin Aייzik ben Hirsh, הכהן Zechron. By Peretz Chaim Levin and Zacharyah Honikman. L'zeichen their cousin Eli ben Zosha, Dr L.H.Honkman. By Miriam Dombey, Eli Stefansky, Khיים, Dmbi, and the art is sponsored for complete refuah for Chaim ben Leah. The official Mishnah, or the Heilige Mishnah, sponsored by all Friedman, Eli Nishmas, my dear father, Chaim Avram Shalom, Yeruchim, Ben Yisrael, David Al-Hashal. And here's just a quick question that really doesn't have a lot to do with Nazirus, but I found it here on the Daf, so I figured I'll ask the question because it's a very interesting shiloh. A person leaves $10 million Yerusha, and he has a brother, he has a cousin, even a girl cousin. They're fighting over the Yerusha, the brother and the cousin. Now, what would the cousin have anything to do with this? They go to Bezdin, and Bezdin paskins that the entire Yerusha goes to the cousin, the girl, even though it's a brother and a boy against the girl, she gets everything, even though there's no will, nothing. Why? What happened there?
Maybe one of the siblings was nifter and he took on the responsibility.
No, much better than that. We're going to see in the sugya. But that's not the ikar sugya. It was just a trick question, kind of. It's not a trick question. It's a real shayla and halacha. Lייb, you know the answer? You didn't learn the daf yet. Okay. But you learned it in the Darim. It happens to be that this Mishnah is very, very similar. The Lashon, the Gemara is very similar to the first Amud in the Darim, and a lot of it is very similar to Saita, which is a phenomenal Masechta coming up. According to everybody, Saita is going to be unbelievable. So we do not have Rashi, and we don't have the Ran like we had in the Darim. What we have here is the Mefarish instead of Rashi on the. Right now in Amud Aleph, it's on the right side. and instead of the ran, the large pirush here, and that's what we're going to be going with, is taisvus. In Nedarim we had a large pirush called the ran, now we have the large pirush called taisvus. So far it was a very, very easy lashon, not like a typical taisvus, the Bintaimah v'yishleimars, more of a pirush. And that's what we're going with because unfortunately there's no Rashi on Masechtas Nazir. So, again, a person who wants to become a Nazir, wants to do it the right way, he says the two words, Hareini Nazir, I am a Nazir. However, what if he doesn't say the proper way and he says, Hareini or Ahei Nazik? Instead of using the word Nazir, he uses the word Nazik. Now, we learned in Masechtas Nedarim, there's a machlokes, what a kinui is. A kinui is not the proper wording, it's like a nickname, like another type of word for that. Is it Chachamim who invented these words so that people shouldn't say Hashem's name in vain, whatever the reason was in Nedarim, or it's like another language, it's like English, it's like a lashon of the non-Jews. Kol kinuye nezirus kinezirus. So if a person uses something similar to Hareini Nazir, he becomes a Nazir. We'll see that you have to say the word. It says kiyafli by Naziros, you have to say it, you have to utter the word, you can't just think it in your heart. We had similar by learning Nedarim now. Hatara, hafara, sometimes you can do it in your heart, you can't, but over here, to become a Nazir, you can't just think, oh, I want to become a Nazir. Now, what's interesting is, the Mishnah starts off, Kol kinuye nazirus kinazirus. A kinui, a nickname of a Nazir is like saying the word Nazir. And then the Mishnah jumps to a different category called yad. On the left side, a yad. Yad is a handle. You hold a handle, you get the entire thing, you hold the handle of a frying pan, you pick up the whole frying pan. But it's not a kinui. You say words that we could interpret and understand what you're talking about, but it's not really, you didn't say anything about a Nazir. But we understand that you're talking about Nazirus now. For instance, hey, I shall be. Harez a Nazir. He becomes a Nazir. Now the Gemara is going to explain that there's a Nazir walking by him. We have reason to understand what he's saying, but he utters one word. So in the category on the chart of yad, he just says the word ahei. A yad, a handle, one word ahei. What's a kinoi? Ahei nazik, ahei naziach, hareini kozeh. Guys walking by, I want to be like this. But what's interesting is, you notice right away, we have a problem. Kol kinuyim nazirus kinazirus. All the kinuyim, all the nicknames are good. And then doesn't even explain what a nickname is. It jumps immediately into category 2 called yad. The Gemara explains that you need to insert your own words to understand that we're talking about yadis as well. And then we're going to explain yadis. Why in this order? That's what the first Amud is all about. Just the wording. Many Masechtas start out like that to understand the wording, why, and then go into the rest of the Masechta and to the depth of the concept. But now just to understand the language here. Instead of explaining to me what a kinui is, 5 words in, it starts a whole another topic. If a person says a yad and he says a hey, 3 letters, harez a nazir, that's enough to be a nazir. I want to be handsome. I guess in those days, having very long hair was very handsome. Okay? I could see, you've seen the pictures. Generals, I don't know what. Long hair. Okay. So Nazir, just by saying those 2 words, hey, Noah, maybe he's talking about something else. Maybe he's talking about, I want to beautify mitzvahs. I don't know what. No, I understand that he's talking about in the zeros, that's called a yad. Now, the Mishnah jumps back to the category on the right, the one we started out with, kinui. So you understand the problem here. We talk about kinui, we jump to yad. We finish yad and we jump back to explain what kinui is. What's a kinui? Nazik. But you have to add the word a hey. Or hareini. Hareini is nazik. A hey nazik. I'll be a nazik. I'll be a naziach. It's like the word nazir, but there's a kuf at the end. There's a ches at the end. Or Paziach, or Harez Nazir. Okay. Paziach, Harez Nazir. If you say these words, then you become a Nazir. Now we're going to another category, not a yad, not a kinoi. A person says, Hareini kozeh. Over here, the Gemara explains that there was a Nazir walking by. Maybe we have, no. Here, the Gemara is going to explain this, that there's a Nazir walking by him, and he points and he says, I want to be like that. What? Correct. Wasn't thinking. No, because that guy is not such a good Nazir. Why did I do it like that? I don't know. But I Bedafka did it like that, and maybe I should have done the real Nazir. There's a good Nazir and a bad Nazir. The guy that I'm showing is not a good Nazir. Hareini misalsel. Misalsel is lashon of, they say Yosef Atzadik was misalsel b'saroi. He played with his hair, he made it nice. Silsul is a lashon of Nazirus. I want to be misalsel b'saroi. The Nazir, once in a while I'll bring, it's good? Because it's here. Hareini misalsel. What else does he want to talk? What is he talking about? The Nazir was telling me, Rabbi Turjuman, that it's a psik reisha to comb your hair. So he has an isser to use a brush or a comb because it's like on Shabbos, sort of. I guess you could use a soft brush and do it lightly, do it with your fingers. What we're saying is that if you know that you're going to rip hair out, that's an isser. And Memela, he doesn't use a comb or anything. So yeah, he goes, and also because he told me that he was embarrassed of his hair, that was the main thing. Like 2-3 years into it, he had very long hair. Imagine from guy, right? Sfarim, long hair. So he had a problem going to the mikvah. So he showed us, he built a mikvah on his porch, very, very inexpensive. He took a plastic carton that holds like fruit, like something this size, something that holds arba imsa. He made a hole in the bottom, so it's no longer a kli. Then he closed that hole, and then he just drilled it into his porch, and he filled it up with ice. Ice makes a mikvah d'oraisa, believe it or not. That's what I used in my mikvah. And for very, very inexpensive, he built himself a mikvah, and now he doesn't have to go and be embarrassed and whatever. Says the Mishnah, Hareini misalsel, Hareini mechalkel, whatever that means. We'll see in the Gemara, Harei olai l'shaleach pera, I'm going to grow my hair. Harei Nazir. Without him saying the word Nazir, we understand. You have to understand, at the time of the Beis Hamikdash, when you were able to, the problem today of being a Nazir is there's no korbanos. So if a guy makes Nazirs for 30 days, guess what? 30 days equals 100 years. There's no way out of it. In the time of the Beis Hamikdash, you had a Nazirus, and you got rid of your Nazirus by going to the Beis Hamikdash and bring korbanos when the time was over. But we don't have a way out of it. You can't bring the 3 korbanos. You can't bring 3 korbanos. So that's it. You're stuck in your Naziros. Harei olaitzi poirim. So now he says a lashon of korbanos. I'm going to bring korbanos. Remeim and Nazir. We have to understand Nazir. So the reason why I said that is because in time of the Beis Hamikdash, it was common to be a Nazir. It's a way to be Oved Hashem in a higher level, Gedusha, etc. To be parish from anything. Russia, not Russia, we'll see. Just by saying I'm going to have Tzipirim doesn't create Nazirus. Okay, says the Gemara. Mikdi Tana b'sei the Noshim Koi. Rabbi Yisai, we're in the middle of Noshim. We started Masechtas Yevamis. Wow. A lot of people liked it a lot. Many people, not so much. Dropped off like flies, unfortunately. Be'ez Hashem, they came back. Then we had Ksubas. It's an amazing Masechta. Most people loved it. Then we had Nedarim. We're not going to talk about Nedarim. We're still in there a little bit when they left. Not bad. No, not bad. It came out Seder. What's going on here with Nazir? If I asked you, where should Nazir be? If you were writing the Mishnah, you were Rebbe, Rebbe Yehuda Nasi, where would you write the Mishnah? Where would you write Nazir? And what say there? Why Kachim? Huh? Korbanos. Very good. Korbanos. You have to bring 3 korbanos, a chatas, oila, shlamim. So put it in Kachim. What is it doing? What does it have to do with women? Now, what does Nidarim have to do with women? Why is Nidarim in? We didn't really address that question in the entire Masechta, but Tosfos addresses it here. Why is Nidarim in Seder Nashim? So, what? Oh, the Gemara in Saita. That's what I said. So there's a combination of like Nidarim and Saita. So the reason is because Nidarim is basically all about women. Women making Nidarim, the wife, the daughter. So it's a Masechta of how a husband is supposed to go about his wife making Nidarim. So it's in Nashim. So the Gemara asks, we're middle of Seder Nashim. My time, Tani Nazir. Why do we have Masechtas Nazir over here? Tana Akrakoi. Because the Tana is going based on the pasuk. V'hayim le'simtzochem be'enav ki motza ba ervas davar. He found that his wife was not faithful. So here's the pasuk. Ki yikach yishisho v'Allah v'hayim le'simtzochem be'enav. He's not happy with his wife. Why? So the Torah explains. It doesn't have to be after this, but the Torah goes into ki motza ba ervas davar. She did something wrong. She wasn't faithful. And then because of Allah Savior Christ, he gives her a get. Says the Gemara, we know, why in the world did this woman go with another person? She must have been drinking. Yayin. So that's the different shot the Gemara in Saita addresses. So then why is Saita after Nazir? Saita should be before Nazir. Okay. But Saita is a woman who her husband warned her not to have yichud with another man and she didn't listen. So the husband takes her to the Beis HaMikdash and the Kohen, they remove her hair covering and they put a parsha with Hashem's name into a kli, mix it with water, and she drinks it. And if she wasn't faithful, she'll explode. The guy also gets punished. So if you saw that, you witnessed that, so you should become a Nazir. Don't make a nether, you become a Nazir, you say, Hareini Nazir, I saw what wine could cause. I saw the issues. I want to stay away from it. So, it's a aside for us also. When we witness bad things, it has a terrible influence on us. And I read once, and I said this a few times, you can read it yourself, that in the Korean War, they said that only 1 out of 10 soldiers was able to pull the trigger. If an American soldier saw an enemy, he had him in his crosshairs, he wasn't able to pull the trigger. He couldn't bring himself to kill. But in the Vietnam War, it was 8 out of 10 could do that. What's nafkimina, they say? Nafkimina is television. And the American soldiers, they watched so much killing and so much ritzicha that they became desensitized. Thank you. When you see something, even on a WhatsApp, on a this, you become desensitized. When you see something, doesn't matter what, all of a sudden, you take it down 2 levels. Anything, any avera that you witness, it's not a good idea. You see this from the Gemara. A person who witnesses, he's there, he's just trying to help out in the Beis HaMikdash, make her drink the water and the whole thing. He witnesses it. It's a terrible thing. He should take upon himself an azirus. Says the Gemara, Pasach b'kinuyim farish yados. So if we go back to this chart, what is going on here? The Mishnah starts with the lashon of kinui and doesn't even explain to us a hey nazik, a hey naziach. It jumps right into a hey noah, which is a completely different topic, the topic of a yad, of a handle. What's going on here? Amar Rav Yisema Kidi. All over Shas, Kidi usually means it's anonymous. Sometimes Rashi says Kidi is the name of an Amoira. We'll say it's anonymous. No name. Chesuri mechsera v'achikitani. So anytime the Gemara says this, I like to explain because I know there are people out there. What do you mean the Mishnah is missing words? Chas v'shalom. The Beis Yosef says the Mishnah is not missing words. When Rebbe wrote the Mishnah, he had to write it with the least words possible because they had to memorize the Mishnah Baal Peh. So you can't be Meirich. Befrat in those days, ink costs a lot of money, parchment costs a lot of money, for different reasons. But the idea of memorization, everything had to be memorized. So if you could chop out a bunch of words, better. It was for them to understand, and they all understood. When you say it like this, called Kanir Naziris Kanaziros, and then you jump into Yadais, it's self-understood that just insert, Ki'ilu, it's missing, it's not missing. Just in your mind, you say, okay, now there's a concept called Yadais. What is a Yad? Hey. All you have to do is a Hey. So, but the way the Gemara always says it is, Chasurei Mechsera. The words are missing. Not that literally missing, the Tanakh Chas Shalom forgot words. They're omitted on purpose. And this is how you're supposed to read it and say it to yourself. Called Kinuya Naziris Kinaziris. That we have. This part, V'yadais Naziris Kinazirus. This we don't have. These 6 words. V'yadais Naziris Kinazirus. You should know that the Yad is also like saying Hareini Nazir. A handle is enough. And what is a Yad? Ve'elo Hein Yadais. And then the Mishnah goes on to say that we have already Hoimer Hey. Beis Hashem, David Gold is here. He runs the MDY Kids. I don't know when, but one day we're going to get to Nazir. So you'll remember that you were here on the first day of Nazir. It could be years from now. I don't know when. We got to do tinus. We got all this, the smaller Masala. Not so far away. Maybe a year or two. Not so far. Nazir. Says the Gemara, okay, I get it. So there's some words that you want to insert. You know how to insert them by yourself. Great. But the bottom line is, you started telling me Kol Kinuya Naziris Kinaziros. So explain what it is. Why are you jumping to another topic? The Livrosh Kinuya Bereisha, explain it right away. Says the Gemara, no. Sometimes, Tana, Mahud Salak, Ahum Mefarish Bereisha. When I mention 2 things, 2 items, there's an A and a B, I explain B before I explain A. Because I'm done with B, let me just go in and explain what B is. Kedesnan, if you daven Nusach Ashkenaz, you say this every Friday night. V'ameh madlikin uva'ama ein madlikin. What could you use as fuel for your candles, and what can't you use? Instead of explaining what you could use, because that's how we started off, it says ein madlikin all the stuff, right? Mefarish ein madlikin bereisha. V'ameh toimnim uva'ama ein toimnim. What are you allowed to Erev Shabbos? You're allowed to bury your food. Moisef Hevel, not Moisef Hevel. Instead of explaining what you could bury your food in, it says what you cannot bury, which is the second thing. Instead of explaining A, we're explaining B. Another thing in Masechta Shabbos, Bameh Isha Yaitza Uvama Eni Yaitza. I don't know if over there it says Bama. That I don't know. Well, maybe it's Bameh. Bameh Eni Yaitza. What kind of jewelry could a woman go out with? What Irshal Zav, different things that she might take off and show her friends. That's a problem of Eitzah. You don't want her to go out in the middle of Rosh Hashanah. She'll start removing jewelry. And instead of explaining what she could go out with, which is A, we're explaining what she can't go out with, which is B. Okay, so our Mishnah also. There's an A and a B, and we explain B. That's the Gemara, but it's not consistent. Why? Because we have other Mishnayos. Other Mishnayos say, "Vasna b'meh behema yaitza uv'meh ena yaitza." We have an A and a B by an animal. What could an animal wear? A ukaf, a saddle, not a saddle. And over there explains A instead of explaining B. So which one is it? Do we explain A or B? Over here we're explaining A first. There are those who inherit to others, and those others inherit back. In other words, a father inherits his belongings to his son, and loyalenu, if a son dies without children, it goes upwards to his father. It goes both directions. There are those like a son and a mother. A son inherits his mother, but his mother never inherits him. If a son dies, it goes to the father. And if there's no father, it goes to the father's children, etc. It goes upwards. It keeps on going up another generation to the grandfather, but it doesn't go to the mother. Manchilin v'loi noichalin. There's noichalin v'loi manchilin. Manchilin v'loi noichalin. There's a mother and a son and a son and a mother. And then there's loi noichalin v'loi manchilin. There's so we have a category, a brother from a mother. You hear this? And this answers the question that I asked you. If a person has a brother and a cousin, but the cousin is related to him through his father, and his brother is only related to him through his mother, he's a real brother, but only through a mother, they don't inherit each other. Who gets the Yerusha? A cousin who's a girl will get the Yerusha before a brother who's a boy, because he's a brother through a mother. And a brother through a mother doesn't inherit. Fine, it was just one of those questions. And over there, we explain right away the A instead of the B. Says the Gemara, obviously, it could go both ways. So when do we choose A? When do we choose B? Elahasam, the three examples that we gave by Masechta Shabbos, the Isur den Nafshehu, it's an Isur on the person, and it's very chomer, that Isur, the Farish Isur den Nafshei Bereisha. I want to explain the Isur first. Over there, people don't consider it such an Isur. It's the same Isur. There's an Isur, the Raisa. But people don't consider it an Isur. It's through the animal, the Isur. Mefarish hetera bereisha. L'chvoid yeshivas Na'am Torah in Yerushalayim and Rav David Eamon Shlita, who always encourages us to finish Shas, and for the Maggid Shir and the members of the HBA Group and their families, Latzlacha, Amen, Yishkoyach. So where are we? Mefarish the surah I did the was mefarish the liberation. Gabi yeshnoichlem nami mefarish ikan nach liberation. So when it comes to inheritance, we want to explain the ikir din first. Okay. Elahacha, but by us as the Gemara lifroish kinui bereisha. A kinui is isser on the person, on the individual. He's making an azirus on himself, so it's like an isser Shabbos. You said when there's isser Shabbos, we explain that first. Says the Gemara, Elahainu tam yadois. When it comes to a handle, hoil va'asili midrasha. It says like this in the pasuk: Ish oy isha ki yafli lindo neder nazir lahazer lashem. The double lashon of lahazer teaches us the concept of a handle. It doesn't have to be a straight out. If you see in the pasuk, it says ki yafli. Right on top of nazir lahazer, it says ki yafli. You have to utter the words. So I would think you have to literally say the words Hareini Nazir. There's an exact way to say it. And if you say it slightly different, or not at all really, because you're doing a yad, you said, hey, what's that? Chiddush is Nazir lahazer. I'll take even the partial wording and understand that you're meaning Naziros. Imagine if you said a Dvar Torah and you're saying over from whoever it is, even a Rishon, but you have your own little kneit, your own little chiddush. What do you like more? You like your own stuff. You like to tell people, as mechadish here, ich hab gefleckt zogen. Ich hab einmal gesagt. I love those guys. I used to say, I once said, in third person, I'm so chashiv, I can't say that I'm saying now. I once heard from myself this moirdik vart. Anyway, people love their own stuff. Chas shalom, I didn't even mean, when I was saying it, I forgot where I was, because we're talking Gemara here. The Gemara says a fact. Chachamim, they love their Torah, They were mechadish it. It's beautiful to them. It gives them a lot of anah. It's the real deal. So they're saying it. They want to say. So they would talk about it first. Nazir lahazir. They're drasha. Says the Gemara. Okay. So you like it so much. So start off with it. So start the whole mission. Why do you even say the words kinui? Kinui, the Gemara understands, was so pashut. Because if you think about it, Nazir and Nazik, you don't have to be a big genius to understand that's what he means. Hareini Nazik. What did he mean? What other possibilities are there? When a guy says a hey, he says, good morning, Rabbi say, aha. Aha means I'm a Nazir. What does it mean? So, that's a big chiddush, right? That's a yad, and that's a chiddush. A kinui is not a chiddush. So then why are you starting the mission with a kinui? You love chiddushim, start with a chiddush. Says the Gemara, first, I have to describe the idea of Nazirus and how to say it. You say it, Hareini Nazir. But you don't have to say Nazir, you could say Nazik. So that's kinui. And once I say kinui, now I'm going to talk about a yad, which is a completely different thing. I have to be a genius to understand a hey, etc. So it goes in order. First, I'm going to say the ikar halacha. I'm going to talk about that ikar halacha a little bit off by saying naziyach, nazik. And then I'm going to talk about a yad, which is a hey. In order to explain, I'm going to explain what a yad is first because that's what I love. That's what's more chaver. Says the Gemara, it says in the Mishnah, hey, Haray's a Nazir. Guy just says one word, 3 letters, hey, he becomes a Nazir. Says the Gemara, who told you that he's talking about Nazirus? That's basically what Gershon was screaming from the booth up there. Guy says Misalsals, he means Nazirus. A guy says it's worse. Misalsal, at least, we have reference to Yosef, Misalsal B'Sarai. But what does a hey mean? Perhaps he means a tinus. I shall be in a fast. That time, I'll take that out. I'll do what Yosef said. I don't know why he uses this. I have no idea. Says the Gemara, so this again, we had a sugya a number of times, but even in the Dar, we had the sugya. The beginning of the Dar. You have a yad that's mechiach, you have a yad that's not mechiach. And you have a nothing. Basically 3 categories. I could have made a chart with 3 categories. Maybe in that sugya we even had a chart. There's a yad that means nothing. A guy goes, baseball. What? What just happened? There's a guy that says, he points at a Nazir, and he said, the guy from Yerushalayim is walking by here. Let's go to him. Where is he? This guy, he's there, his hair is all there, and he says, Hareini. So, of course, what else? He's pointing at the guy. The guy's there. So that's a yad shemichiach. It's the most obvious thing in the world. And then you have a yad that's not so mechiach. So says the Gemara. So again, right? There's something that's 0, there's something that's 99, and there's something that's 50. Or 51, let's call it. Why does Shmuel say that the guy has to be walking right in front of him? Because if he's not walking right in front of him, we wouldn't understand what he's saying. Isn't that a Yadayim Shemechichos? That's a 51%. Okay, so you have a little shayla. Maybe he meant the fast, but most likely he meant Naziros. And that should be enough. You see that it's not enough. That according to Shmuel, a 51% yad is not considered a yad. It's not a good enough handle.
Why can't we just ask the guy?
We can't ask him. It doesn't matter because it's Dvarim Shebelev and Dvarim very good kasha. They talk about it. They actually do talk about it. I'm not just throwing it to Taisvas or the Ran. We don't have Ran anymore. They actually do ask the question. It's because Dvarim Shebelev and Dvarim, we don't care what he says. It doesn't matter to us at all what he says. Now, how he explains it. We care. Do we? Viewing from the side, can we understand what he's talking about? Amri. So now the Gemara takes back a step, goes back a whole level. Bizman shenazir oivel lefanov lekeles apuki b'milsa achrina. It's a hard lashon a little bit. It's not as simple as you read it. But what the Gemara is saying is that even if the guy is right in front of you, he's mamish walking in front of you, that doesn't make it a yidayim mechichos. That makes it a yidayim she'ei mechichos. You hear what the Gemara is saying? We were under the assumption that if you have a full-fledged nazir like this guy, and you point at him, you are saying 99%, we understand what you're saying, that you want to become a nazir. Says Gemara, it's not true. What we have here is a situation of 51%. When you say, aha, that's a 51%. You most likely meant it, but it's not 99. Don't think it's 99. You could have meant other stuff. You could have meant the tinus. So, just as a side thing, I forgot exactly where Taisa says it on. He says it over here, that a tinus and a zerus is very different because it's more likely on the tzad that the Gemara says that's, I think he says it on the tzad that it's almost 99%. He says that a nazirus could happen right now. Whereas a tinus, maybe you drank something in the morning, maybe you ate something, so it can't start until tomorrow. So it's more likely that you meant nazirus. Okay, fine. So maybe lock it. Yeah, just lock it for a little bit. Shkoya. We're almost done. Says the Gemara. Yeah, the first time is on Amud Aleph. Sak upon him. The Gemara is saying, so what? So since it's a 51%, here's a case where Shmuel says that even 51% is mechiach. So he holds Yadayim shein mechichos having Yadayim. Because this case of a Nazir walking in front of him is actually a case not of a mechiach, but of a not mechiach, and that's enough. It makes more sense to say it's Nazirus, but you still have a suffix. But if you don't even have the Nazir in front of him, now it's not 51% anymore, then maybe he meant a tinus. Ask the Gemara, maybe when the guy says a hey, all he meant to say is, I will pay for this Nazir, not me, but this Nazir who's walking here. In a few days, he's going to have to go to the Beis Hamikdash and pay for all these expensive korbanos. I want to be mishtatev. A guy came over to me today. He's not even part of the shir. After Shachris, he says, I love this MDY kids. I want to give you $1,000. Stop. People like to be mishtatev in mitzvahs. It's a great idea. You know what? Kol hakavod to you. I can't do it myself. I can't be a nazir. There's no way in the world I'm going to go, not take a haircut and this and drink wine. You did it, great. Let me at least participate a little bit. I'll pay for your korbanos. Maybe that's what he meant. Says the Gemara, the Kamar Beliboy. Ooh. So there's a combination of different things here. The Gemara is saying he had it in his heart. Heart alone is not good because it says in the pasuk ki yafli. So he said something. There's really three things here. There's a Nazir walking in front of him. He said hey, and he thought about it in his heart. When you have all these three things, then it's a good Nazirus. So then what's the big chiddush? There's a Nazir walking in front of him. He said a word, and he explained it in his heart. Who says that heart is good here? Maybe you have to say it straight out of any Nazir. It says ki yafli, you have to say it. Kamash malon, that yes, this is a chiddush. If it's the Nazir is walking in front of him, and he said a lashon, and he explained it in his heart, those three things together is enough for Nazirus. It's a big chiddush. Hey Noah, I'll be handsome. I'll be beautiful. He means Nazir, says the Mishnah. As the Gemara, I love this Gemara. Every time we have it, I get all excited. I want to say a story about it, and I don't have any good stories. V'dilma ena lefanav b'mitzvos. Sometimes I think it says a snai lefanav b'mitzvos. Okay, ena lefanav b'mitzvos. Because over here we're talking about a hey, not. Maybe he's referring to a mitzvah. He wants a beautiful esrig. Kisanya zakeli vanveyu. It's a pasuk in the Torah. We say it in the Yashir, right? And no, the fun of the mitzvahs. It's not in this week's parsha. What is it next week, right? Shalach. Next week. And no, the fun of the mitzvahs. The what? Ese lefon of sukkah. There's a special mitzvah to make a beautiful sukkah, to have beautiful schach. The Stipler says, Maisa. Stipler, it's not a Maisa. The Stipler says that people are very makbid on a beautiful esrog. People are very makbid on a beautiful Sefer Torah. How much does Sefer Torah cost today? $100,000. Price went up. Used to be 60, 70, maybe 100. So that they don't have a problem. They'll buy a Sefer Torah. But sukkah, sometimes they're not so careful about beautifying the sukkah. Invest in beautiful schachs, is the Stipler. Invest in beautiful walls even. But the main part of the sukkah is the schach. Sometimes people have bugs in their schach. And they go and they buy sprays and this, right? Here in Israel, it's the whole problem. Different types of bamboo has bugs. Is that beautifying a mitzvah? Would you have an esrig with a few bugs and every right before you go to davening, or you have a beautiful esrig? It's not in front of a mitzvahs.
I found a video of this guy building a sukkah from 1960.
The one with the bricks?
No, the video.
Yeah, but there's putting on the schach. Really? Beautiful. Send it to me. Maybe send it to Yosef. He says he has a video of the Stipler building his sukkah. Put it in. Beautiful. Great. We'll give you a little bit more work before your flight, Yosef.
Yeah, easy.
And all the fun of the mitzvahs. But I'm saying the Stipler says you have an opportunity, because anytime Klal Yisrael is makbid on a certain mitzvah, and you take the mitzvah that's less desirable to Klal Yisrael, your schar is that much greater. That's what he's saying. Think about it. Everybody goes to the esrig place, and they go to the lulav. This year, you go to the sukkah. Make yourself a better sukkah. Decorations, I'm not so sure that that's what we're talking about. That you don't really put those in your house, but maybe. Who knows? Lulav na. Tzitzis na. Now, if you believe in tchelas, it costs a lot of money. A lot of people don't do tchelas because it costs a lot of money. So, if that's the problem, tzitzis na. Unless you have other reasons, because Reb Chaim Kanievsky didn't wear tchelas, and this one didn't wear it. Maybe that's your reason. Whatever your reason is. There's a mitzvah to get the better cipher, the nicer words. And every time we say this, I remember the Vilna Gaon says a tremendous chiddush. It might be the Rabbeinu Tam. I think it's the Vilna Gaon. It's the Vilna Gaon because I remember it hit me. Wow. This is one gra that I can't do. He says there's no mitzvah of Zakeli Vanveyu on the parsha of a tefillin. Why? Because it's buried inside the tefillin, nobody sees it. Unbelievable. So all that money I spent on my kids' parshas, according to the Gaon, was not necessary. And I intend to spend good money on my next kid's parsha. I can't do it. It has to be the best. The Vilna Gaon says you don't have to, because it's buried. I'll go on it. Sefer Torah for sure. Everybody sees it. It should be a beautiful ksav. I'll beautify it. I'll put beautiful things. So what's going on here? When a guy says, "Hey, no," he's talking about Nazirus. Maybe he's saying, "I'm going to buy a beautiful Sefer Torah." I was inspired to write a beautiful Sefer Torah, to buy a beautiful esrog. Says Shmuel shetofes b'sa'arei. Oh, we go back to that picture. It's givaldik, but it doesn't mean that. But this is tofes b'sa'arei of somebody else. But it means he himself was holding on to this here. So obviously he's not talking about esrog and a lulav. He's talking about becoming a Nazir. Rabbi Sai. Have a wonderful day.